Every living thing that once born on the face of earth grows, reproduces, and then dies. Now, this span of life, or this period of life of an organism between birth and final death of the organism is called as the lifespan. The lifespan of any organism can be divided into basically 4 phases, starting off naturally from birth to the juvenile phase, or the phase in which the organism grows and attains maturity, reaching to the second phase, that is maturity, which is also known as the reproductive phase of an organism. It is in this phase that the organism is now mature enough to reproduce organisms of its own kind. Then the next phase is aging, or we also term it as senescence. After the organism has reproduced, it undergoes further deterioration and aging, which finally leads to the death of the organism. In this chapter, we will be discussing about the reproductive phase. Reproduction is important because, one, it ensures continuity of species on the face of earth. Secondly, it also helps in bringing about variations. Now, what are these variations? How they are produced, and what is its significance? Variations are the factors, or there are certain changes in an organism that take place for the organisms to adapt to the changing environmental conditions. So, variations are very important, and reproduction is a process which ensures variations in organisms. Now, how it exactly happens, we'll be dealing with that in our further chapters. Third importance of reproduction is the organization of organism, the population organization. Rather, we can say that it ensures the population organization. Now, what is population organization? It is with the help of reproduction that a particular population can be divided into the young, the older, the reproductive age groups, and so on. Above all, the main importance of reproduction is that it ensures life on face of earth. So, today we'll be discussing in detail the different types of reproduction. Before we move further, let us discuss about lifespans a little more. What are these lifespans? As we said, lifespan is the duration of an organism's life between birth to death. Let's consider the lifespan of some organisms. For example, the lifespan of an elephant is about 60 to 90 years. That of a mayfly can be as small as 1 day. On the other hand, a tortoise can have a lifespan of about 200 years. Among the birds also, there is a lot of variation in the lifespan. A crow has a lifespan of about 15 years, whereas another bird, parrot, has a lifespan of about 140 years. So you can see here that the lifespan of an individual is not dependent on the size of the individual. An elephant which is so large lives for only 60 to 90 years, whereas a parrot for 140 years. On the other hand, parrot and a crow have a similar size and they both are birds, but still you can see there's a lot of variation in the lifespan in both of these individuals. The plants have a longer lifespan as compared to animals. Like, you can take the example of banyan tree. It has a lifespan of about 2,000 to 3,000 years. And the redwood tree still higher, 3,000 to 4,000 years. So we can see that the lifespan in an individual varies. Now, after this, let's take up the different types of reproduction. The reproduction can be basically divided into two types. The asexual can be basically divided into two types. The asexual reproduction and the sexual reproduction. Let us do a comparison of these two types before we move further to discuss about them in detail. Asexual mode of reproduction is a kind of reproduction in which only one parent is involved. Or we can say it is uniparental. In sexual reproduction, always two parents are involved. They are biparental. In asexual reproduction, gametes are not formed, whereas in sexual reproduction, gametes are formed. In asexual reproduction, only mitosis or simple cell division takes place, whereas in sexual reproduction, both mitosis as well as meiosis take place. Since there are no gametes formed, so there is no fertilization in case of asexual reproduction. Whereas in sexual reproduction, fertilization takes place. Then, asexual mode of reproduction is usually found in the lower invertebrates as well as in lower chordates. Whereas sexual mode of reproduction is found in all animals and most of the plants. So, all animals and most of the plants. Now, since only one parent is involved and no fertilization is taking place, the daughter cells that are formed or the daughter individuals that are formed, they are genetically similar to the parents. Whereas in case of the sexual reproduction, variation takes place as there is a combination of gametes between when sexual reproduction is taking place. So, the individuals, the daughters that are formed are not genetically similar to parents. So these are the basic differences between the asexual and sexual mode of reproduction. Now, in the next part, we'll be discussing about the various modes of asexual reproduction, how they occur in different organisms, how they help in continuity of the species. So all these things will be taken up in detail one by one. So if we look, we have already covered two things here, the lifespan, and we have covered the types of reproduction. Now we will be taking up the first type, that is fission. Fission is a kind of asexual reproduction which is similar to simple cell division. This can be seen in various protistans, some monerans, and some simple alga. Now, fission can be basically divided into three types: binary fission, multiple fission, and plasmotomy. Let us take these types one by one. Binary fission. This is a kind of asexual reproduction in which, as we started off, only one parent is involved. So what happens that in organisms such as amoeba, when they grow in size, their size increases, they divide to give rise to two daughter cells by simple cell division. That means first the nucleus divides into two, followed by the division of cytoplasm into two daughter cells. These daughter cells, when increase in size, they further divide to